When you're recording a sample like a clap or a snap, you can make a bunch of different creative choices to get different variations of the same sound. In this video, we're going to be sampling a snap, but the principle's going to stand the same for any sample you want to record, whether it's a click, a snare drum, or even something more creative like rattling your keys as a tambourine. Firstly, mic choice. The sound is going to be very different if you record with a dynamic mic like an SM57 versus recording with a condenser microphone like a Neumann U87. A condenser mic is what I would normally recommend, but if you have different microphones, you need to try things out. It's going to be very different if you record with a brighter microphone like a U87 versus a Soundelux U195 or even a ribbon mic, which naturally sound a bit darker. 2. Omnidirectional or cardioid. The polar pattern that you record with will give your sample a different sound. Again, conventionally, you should set your microphone to cardioid so that it will pick up what's directly in front of it and less of the sound of the room, but you can experiment with setting it to omni so that it picks up everything from around the capsule, like all of the reflections of your room. This will add a completely different flavor and texture. It might sound good, it might sound bad, it might sound great. Give it a shot. 3. Add some variations. This could be varying degrees of intensity, or you could take a step back from the mic, or you could be closer to the capsule. Another one is to even record multiple sources. Get a few people in the room to clap together. Or for snaps, try snapping both of your hands instead of just one. And finally, velocities. In music production, the velocity of a MIDI note is almost always something you're going to want to correspond with the volume of the sample. But sometimes even this can sound pretty unnatural. Naturally, quieter hits wouldn't be as intense as the loudest hits. When you're thinking of something like a clap, the quiet claps aren't just quieter than the loudest claps, they also sound very different. So it's often a good idea to create between 3 and 5 different variations of the same sample at varying degrees of intensity and loudness. This way, in your sampler, you can drag the quieter recorded samples to only be triggered by the lower velocities, and as the velocity level increases in your sampler, it triggers the more intensely recorded samples. You may find that there's one particular way of doing things that you gravitate toward. Maybe it's cardioid pattern, condenser microphone, 1 foot away, and maybe that's all you're ever going to use. But my advice is if you're going through the effort of recording your own samples, you might as well go the whole hog and create different varieties, because you may find later that having these different varieties helps you. It gives you more choices, and honestly, it doesn't take that much more time.